The Z-20 helicopter, often paraded as a modern symbol of China's aerospace self-reliance and military innovation, has increasingly become the subject of global skepticism, not just for its technical limitations but also for what it represents: a politically driven, overhyped system crafted more for state image building than for practical battlefield utility. While the helicopter is outwardly marketed as a versatile, homegrown multi-role aircraft capable of operating in high-altitude, maritime, assault, and transport roles, a deeper analysis reveals that its development history, operational absence during crises, lack of combat testing, and media overexposure point to a platform built on imitation, exaggeration, and tightly controlled narratives rather than on performance, reliability, or global trust. The Z-20 made its public debut in 2019 and has since been repeatedly advertised as a symbol of China's supposed mastery in helicopter design. Yet its airframe is almost indistinguishable from the American UH-60 Black Hawk, a system China gained limited access to in the 1980s, before U.S. sanctions froze further defense cooperation. From the five-bladed rotor to the fuselage proportions, cargo bay, and landing gear configuration, nearly every structural element of the Z-20 reveals a direct lineage to the UH-60. While Chinese state-run defense manufacturers claim the aircraft was designed indigenously, international analysts and engineers argue that the resemblance is so precise that it points to reverse engineering, not original development. The difference isn't merely aesthetic, it reflects China's systemic reliance on copying proven foreign designs without having the same degree of engineering depth, system integration, or long-term operational validation. This copycat foundation has resulted in an aircraft that looks credible on paper and in ceremonial flyovers but begins to falter under close scrutiny. A glaring example occurred during the 2025 Dingri earthquake in the Tibetan Plateau, a high-stakes moment when China could have demonstrated the Z-20's much-hyped high-altitude lift and performance capabilities. Instead, the helicopter was completely missing from the emergency operations. Instead of showcasing this so-called high-altitude capable aircraft, the PLA deployed older Russian Mi-171 helicopters for urgent airlift missions in the low-density air of Tibet's high elevation. This decision exposed the reality that either the Z-20 is technically unable to perform reliably in such demanding conditions or that it simply has not reached the maturity level needed for such operations. Either case reflects poorly on the credibility of China's claims about the aircraft's capabilities. This was not the only incident to highlight the disconnect between propaganda and performance. The Z-20 has been in service for over 5 years, yet there is still no evidence of its use in real combat, large-scale foreign deployments, or complex multinational exercises. Instead, its appearances have been largely restricted to tightly scripted PLA drills, airshows, and state media documentaries. These presentations are often accompanied by bold, unsubstantiated claims, such as the Z-20 outperforming NATO helicopters in payload and endurance, or possessing superior avionics systems. Yet in the absence of combat stress, contested airspace, or extended deployment cycles, these boasts remain hollow. Unlike the UH-60, which has flown in nearly every modern military conflict since the 1980s, the Z-20 exists in a propaganda vacuum, untouched by the realities of war, logistics, attrition, or battlefield improvisation. Moreover, Chinese authorities have continuously promoted several variants of the Z-20, including the Z-20J, a naval troop transport version, the Z-20F anti-submarine warfare variant, and the Z-20W armed assault variant with weapon hardpoints. However, independent verification of these variants' operational status remains elusive. The naval variant has reportedly been spotted aboard some destroyers, but only in static deployments or carefully curated photos. The ASW variant, which would require sophisticated sonar systems, magnetic anomaly detectors, and torpedo deployment mechanisms, has not been seen conducting live tracking or submarine detection drills. Even the armed variant appears to be more of a prototype than a weaponized reality, often shown only in promotional CGI videos or staged weapon tests. What is most concerning is the complete absence of transparency regarding the aircraft's safety, reliability, or incident history. As of mid-2025, there have been no publicly acknowledged accidents, crashes, or mechanical failures involving the Z-20. But based on precedent with other Chinese military hardware, this absence of failure reports likely reflects censorship rather than perfection. Historically, China has either suppressed or delayed bad news involving military platforms. Fatal crashes of other helicopters like the Z-9 or issues with jet programs like the J-10 were only acknowledged after extended delays, often under pressure from leaked photos or foreign reporting. In a similar manner, it is entirely plausible that mechanical problems or operational incidents involving the Z-20 have occurred but remain hidden from both domestic and international scrutiny. The Z-20 also suffers from another serious issue: zero foreign interest. Unlike Western aircraft such as the UH-60 or NH-90, which are widely exported, jointly developed, and integrated into numerous allied forces, the Z-20 has failed to attract even a single export buyer. Despite China's aggressive promotion of military platforms to developing nations, no country has requested the Z-20, not even for evaluation trials. This silence is telling. In global defense procurement, where cost-saving options are often explored, the Z-20's lack of foreign traction signals a broader distrust in Chinese defense quality, after-sales support, spare parts access, and long-term system viability. Even countries that typically buy Chinese arms have not shown public interest in this helicopter. State-driven overhype has also been central to the Z-20's story. Chinese state-run TV networks and online military influencers continue to circulate heavily edited video packages portraying the Z-20 as a high-tech, mission-flexible, combat-ready platform. These narratives often accompany nationalist music, slogans about self-reliance, and misleading comparisons with Western systems. But the reality behind these slick packages remains unconvincing. Without combat history, without high-altitude validation, without third-party scrutiny, and without export credibility, the Z-20 remains more of a media construct than a military asset. It is built on the illusion of equivalency, meant to convince domestic audiences that China is equal to, or surpassing, Western military innovation, when the facts say otherwise. To sum up, the Z-20 helicopter is a striking example of China's military-industrial complex attempting to replace genuine innovation with polished imitation and controlled storytelling. It has not been combat tested. It has not been deployed in crisis zones that match its design objectives. It has not achieved any foreign sales. And it likely suffers from engine performance and high-altitude limitations that the government refuses to publicly acknowledge. Despite being in the spotlight for nearly a decade, it remains unproven in every area that actually matters. It is a helicopter built for parades, not war. A tool of projection, not performance. And until it is subjected to real operational conditions without censorship, it will continue to symbolize the wide gap between China's military image and its actual capabilities.